I can't believe it's been 9 months since we last covered Farscape, and today's episode reminds me why I hate going that long. It's called Out of Their Minds, from about a third of the way into the second season. Now, we've gotten to know the characters pretty well by now, so this is the time to really have fun with them by doing what they would so often do on Farscape, take an old sci-fi idea and just bitch slap it. You'll discover what I mean by that soon. Crichton's on his way because there's a badly damaged ship, but it's still targeting Moya, so he wants to know if they've sent their standard greeting.
Have we sent the "Don't Shoot Us, We're Pathetic" transmission yet?
It's the first thing we tried, but they still target us.
The crew of Moya know what they are, and they aren't ashamed to admit it. And yet they also know they're badasses. If Star Wars and Red Dwarf had a baby, and that baby ran away to join the circus, that's Farscape. Anyway, a while back they picked up a defense screen from a peacekeeper ship, and so naturally they're trying to get it working just in case this ship attacks. Just to be safe, though, they sent Zan over there where she finds the Skeksis. The Halosians. The leader is targeting them because he thinks they're hostile. Remember Talon, Moya's baby? Well, he's a gunship, and Krace took off with him at the start of the season. It seems that they attacked the Halosians. But Zan assures him that they had nothing to do with that because they're completely unarmed. Well, nice job there, Zan. It turns out that he was looking for an easy target, and you just told him that Moya is one, so congratulations. Well, the shields get up in time, but the blast hits, and yep, it's body swap time.
By the Hynerian gods, I'm not me.
Yep, Rigel's in Crichton, Crichton's in Aaron, and Aaron is in Rigel. And Rigel takes this to work despite the fact that, well, his body would have to undergo a severe makeover to qualify as butt ugly. Meanwhile, Pilot's having a problem controlling the ship because right now, Dargo is actually the pilot. Pilot is in Chiana, and Chiana is in Dargo. Dargo naturally has no idea what the hell he's doing, so Pilot tries to talk him through it. It's a little difficult, though, because Chiana's body is so alien to someone with 4 arms that never walks anywhere that he needs help just moving about. Luckily, Dargo's able to follow Pilot's instructions and get life support going again, so now they can get down to dealing with the body swap and the alien threat. They use the DRDs to make Polaroids of all of them so that everybody can tell who's inside what body at a glance. This also permanently ends the only annoying aspect of this episode, the double voices. A lot of the times when a person spoke, their voice and the body's voice were both heard. It was rather disconcerting. But now they're only using the body's voice. Now, like I said, this is an old idea. They did it on a couple of Trek episodes that we've covered. They did it on Red Dwarf, but they'll be exploring things a little differently here, as we'll see. Crichton's concerned about what might be up with Zan over on the other ship, and Pilot tries to fill him in as best he can. But, of course, there are some things that can be a wee bit distracting. Find anything in there, remember, you can't keep it. So Crichton and Aaron go to fix the defense screen in case they attack again, although Crichton will have to do the work since Aaron's got those tiny little arms, and she can't really do anything with that except maybe imitate a T-Rex. Meanwhile, the Halosian leader says that he'll let Moya go if he inspects the ship and finds they have no weapons. So they'll have to prep for that, though Dargo's going to have a hell of a time trying to keep things going during all of this. This is made even worse because Pilot's having a hard time making the adjustment to this new body. There's so little input, and Chiana's body not caring for his presence is causing him to get sick and foam at the mouth. Or it's something that Chiana had seen and felt like eating, snorting, whatever. You never really can tell with her. Rigel doesn't seem to be adjusting well either. It's a pretty alien experience to be in this giant, gangly body of his, and he doesn't seem to like change, period. Things get worse when they arrive in the maintenance bay to meet the Halosians. Seems that Rigel needs to take a leak.
You can't go now. You have to hold it.
I don't know how to hold it, Chiana. I don't know this body.
Well, there's no time for a trip, so Rigel's sent into the corner to go take care of it.
Crichton?
What?
Can you show me how to do this?
Oh my god. Unzip.
Right.
Pull it out. Point it like a gun. And shoot.
Ain't the right way?
Yes, that's fine.
I love this show. I love this show so much. So the Halosian was told that Crichton would show him around, so looks like that will have to now be Rigel's job.
This thing away. Oh! Yacht!
Ow! Is it the Franks or the beans? The great thing about Farscape is it knows how to have fun with something while not losing the human, for lack of a better term, aspect of it. While Rigel's doing slapstick dick humor, Pilot's quiet discussion of what it's like to be separated from Moya again, and Dargo's about how humbling it is to experience a fraction of what Pilot has, shows that they haven't allowed the comedy to get in the way of the emotional elements. That Dargo is so in awe of all this. Yet Pilot is envious of simple memories of being in love and loved back. Well, they say it better than I can. Look, I can't just put up the whole episode here. That'd be hard to justify to the EFF in my inevitable plea for their help. On the Halosian ship, the other Halosian talks with Zan and admits that the leader is lying. Krace and Talon came in peace, and they only fired after they were attacked. And they didn't even finish them off. And he probably knows not to poke around in any new orifices he finds. It seems that the Halosians believe that the way to evolve is to make hostile kills, so he's not here to see that Moya should be let go, but to sabotage her. Luckily, Crichton's making repairs to the defense screen, and it has his undivided attention. I'm kidding. Actually, he finally realizes that he has full access to Aaron's jugs, and he just can't resist the temptation any longer. I have decided to share this with you, set to the Farscape theme.
You are mentally damaged.
Where was I? Oh yeah, Rigel brings Tack, that's the leader, into the room where Crichton had his hands full. I mean, the job that he was doing was quite a handful. Tack gets sick in this room and starts puking up jello, and Rigel's rather understanding about the whole thing.
Right, go on. Let it all out.
Part of diplomacy is finding the common ground, you know.
Excuse.
Oh, no, that's all right. We do that sort of thing all the time here on Moya. I just peed in the maintenance bay.
If that line wasn't so short, I'd make that my ringtone. Tack promises to make things better. The body swap, not the puke. Well, now as soon as they're not looking, the puke starts eating through the cable, and Tack returns wanting to know what the hell Rigel kept meaning about with the switchback talk. Zan, of course, has no idea, so Tack goes ahead with the plan to shoot them, while Zan tries to get the other one to stop him, pointing out that if she were the one in charge, she could evolve faster and finally defeat the accursed Pikachu. But she's going to give Tack another chance first, and on Moya, they know something bad is likely about to happen, because, well, that's pretty much their ground state. So Chiana decides it's time to make a run for it, and tries to get Rigel to come along, since he's the other one inclined to look out for number one first. But he's so looking out for number one that he'd rather stay and take his chances than live out his days looking like this. Anthony Simcone, who plays Dargo, is actually very much the opposite of his character, so whenever he's given the chance to play up the comedy on the show, he handles it real well, as in this case when Chiana in Dargo's body is going to try to seduce Rigel in Crichton's body, even if it means further handling of the little Crichton.
What are you doing, Chiana?
I want someone to go with me.
Despite what she's doing, Rigel isn't coming along. He's not coming along. We see that vengeance and reclaiming his throne are some of the few things that Rigel actually cares more about than his own life. Before she can try again, Crichton and Aaron arrive and ask about what happened so they can track it back to the disaster. And sure enough, it's so bad that they'll have to rewire the whole thing again. Well, it works, but the Halosians take advantage of it dropping to fire again, and it hits them before it gets up to 100%, so...
Oh, no. I'm Aaron. Who's Crichton?
Yep, and it's not a reverse, it's on a rotary system. You've got to wait until your body comes around again in the cycle. And that's bad for Pilot, who's in even worse shape inside Dargo's body now, and Chiana's in control of Moya, which is bad because, well, frankly, she's the least qualified person for that job, but what can you do, huh? Crazy magic skulls. But she is able to tell them that the power for the screen was at about 62%, so they switched because the weapon and the screen must have interacted and done the body swap thing. All they need is another blast, and they should go back. But unfortunately, Tack is piloting a collision course instead of firing. But having failed again, he's subject to the 3 strikes and you're out rule and gets his throat torn out by his subordinate. Well, unfortunately squared, because this is Farscape, so there's always an unfortunate part of even their unfortunate problems. Troy here is double behind this plan and is already getting set to escape the fiery destruction of the collision. So Zahn has no choice but to stop her. She busts up her hand. Remember, she doesn't actually have bones. She has a series of fluid-filled bladders, which... No, wait, that's Kif. Why am I thinking of Futurama? Oh yeah, that's why. Anyway, Zahn averts the crash, and Chiana manages to stop Moya from starbursting away, so now it's just a matter of swapping their bodies back. Unfortunately, Crichton is the one who emerged as the man with the plan in this team, and right now he's in the body of Rigel, who generally suggests things that serve only his own ends. So they're going to need to talk to the other Crichton.
Hey-ho, pip and dandy, sir.
I mean, she's going to want to hear from Erin because she's the one in Crichton's actual body.
She won't listen to Rigel.
I told you. You all say I'm paranoid, but it's true. No one ever frilling listens to me.
Well, that's what happens when you're untrustworthy. People don't trust you. Not sure what the connection is there. Somebody should do a paper on that. Dargo's got the pressing job of getting the dying pilot to stand where he had been in time for the swap, and finally manages to do that so that everybody can finish their whirlwind tour and wind up back in their original bodies. Things are good now, and some new changes to the relationships have started to emerge thanks to this, so there will actually be consequences to this whole thing to boot. Out of Their Minds is good, stupid fun, and gets a stamp of strongly recommended, but this does require getting to know the show first, as a lot of the humor comes from these people suddenly acting so bizarrely. Not so surprising when you learn that this was directed by the same person who did Crackers Don't Matter. Rigel's comment about not being me anymore seems to be part of one of the recurring elements of Farscape, which seems to run counter to a lot of science fiction. They seem to say, what's inside is what's really me. When you think about an episode like A Bug's Life, where Crichton, who is no longer in control of his body during a murder, looks on guiltily at the result of it because it was his hands that did it. Even though he hadn't willed it, in a way he still felt responsible for it. Likewise, while inside of each other's bodies, they cease to be themselves. Dargo discovers all that he is missing out on compared to Pilot, and seems to discover new longings that he never knew he might possess. Crichton realizes just how much he's trusted because Zahn will only fire on the ship if he's the one asking her to do it, and so on. And from that, reinforcement of growing relationships, Crichton and Erin, Dargo and Chiana, which all have lasting repercussions. Out of Their Minds is a fun and interesting look at an old and often poorly handled science fiction staple.
Are you sure about this, Crichton?
Shoot the damn gun, you blue-ass bitch!